Hello, boys and girls. AEW Freak 1127 here, and look, Metallica's got a new song. This one really caught me by surprise. I was not expecting it. I did not know they were even working on new music. Part of that reason is I don't keep up with this band anymore. Metallica is a pretty lame band these days. They're really, really lame. And when you release new music once every 8 to 12 years, or whatever this band's average is now, it's like, what's the point? What's the point of following you on social media just so I can see you advertising your shitty liquor and your shitty beer? And I can't, I still can't wrap my head around that. You've got a band with a lead singer with a very public drinking problem, so let's take him to the distillery where they're making blackened whiskey so we can do a promotional video. And, never mind his personal demons. We need to make more money, keep the cash cow flowing, and that's what Metallica really is. It's a cash cow band. And that's what they've done in between records, is just sell you stuff and remaster this and repackage that. And more power to them, but that doesn't keep me all that interested anymore. So this was way off my radar. It was a big surprise, and then it wasn't, because I listened to the song several times, and I'm not really picking up anything worth celebrating. Granted, the album is not out yet. Of course, this is just one song. But it's a song that reveals to me the same old kind of shit. Only this song is even lamer than the first single from a new album they put out, Hardwired, which I was really excited about. And Hardwired is a much better song than this, because it's... First and foremost, we got to talk about Lars. I know people, Lars sucks. I know people are tired of hearing about how much Lars sucks. Everybody knows, or everybody who has ever picked up a pair of drumsticks or even attempted to learn anything about basic fundamental drumming knows that Lars Ulrich sucks. But I'm not talking about his drumming necessarily here, although I am getting tired of the same old fill, the da 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 da. That's just the same old fill, the same old crap. It's not even a signature. People will say that that's Lars' signature style, and I say, oh, cool. His signature style is a second-year drumming student. Okay, that's okay. So at least he's not getting worse per se. He's just keeping at that level of mediocrity. His bass drums, for fuck's sakes, his bass drums are way too loud. Way too fucking loud in the mix, at least to my ears. And I know they're a metal band, and Motorhead's a huge influence, and loud. All of these metal bands got to be really, really, really loud. But there are a plethora of metal bands who have given pretty equitable mixes among all of the members. Iron Maiden is a huge example of that. Steve Harris's bass lines are never buried in the mix, and they blend in so well with the guitar work. But Metallica has never given any of their bassists, any of them, that opportunity, except for maybe Jason and, well, of course, Cliff. But even Cliff's bass, if you listen to it on Ride the Lightning, it is so buried far back in the mix. And guess who had his finger on the pulse of the mixing board every single fucking time? It was Lars. Lars and his ego. The drums gotta be... That's the whole reason there's no bass on And Justice for All. Lars gave his instructions to the mixers. The mixers played it back for Lars, and Lars said, yeah, lower the bass even more, okay? Even more, a few more dB. Lower the bass until you can't fucking hear it anymore, because my drums need to be out there. First and foremost, people need to be hearing my bass drums and my snare, and my improved. Maybe that's why he was so... Maybe that is exactly why he was so eager to drop everything else in the mix so his drums would stick out, because he kind of learned how to drum in 1988. Something just out of nowhere, he learned how to. But of course, when you play in the studio, and if you listen to the isolated drum tracks, there are so many cuts where he fucked up and they just glued things together, which is fine, which is absolutely fine. But it becomes even more apparent when he plays live, and he can replicate almost nothing. Um, and just so out of tune, so out of time, not out of tune, but out of time. And the bass drums, just so fucking loud. And I don't want to hear people tell me, oh, Lars has improved, though. Listen to their live stuff. I have been listening to the live. It's the only reason I even pay attention to Metallica anymore is to hear how they sound live year over year over year. And the only thing that's changed is they use a click track, and Lars's drums are just, the volume just seems to go up and up and up as the years go by. Sometimes it's his snare that's too loud, like in Death Magnetic. Sometimes it's his bass drums that are too loud, like on this song and on a lot of Hardwired. They just cannot find that mix, because I couldn't hear any fucking bass in the song. Could you? Could you? Maybe you could hear that low end in there somewhere, but I just couldn't hear any of the low end over his clicky fucking bass drums, and that's one of the... why? Just why? And then we get to just the content of the song beyond the drums. I could talk about Lars's drums all day, but there is one good thing for the music video. He had his old, was it the Art Star? Grand Star? I can't remember, but it looked like he had one of his old the white kit that he used for the Black Album tour and the And Justice tour. He had that back for the video, but of course you hear a crash cymbal and he's there just banging on his stupid fucking China cymbal in the video, but you hear a crash cymbal. It's almost like if you were to beat the crap out of a China cymbal while you were recording drums, it would be harder to mix in and make things sound well, but live it's okay because everything loud. The song is not bad. It's a decent enough song. But when you're a band that puts out music as infrequently as Metallica, I think that you should be held to a higher standard. And I don't think, at least, it's all subjective anyway, so what the fuck. To my subjective standards, or as far as my subjective standards go, they did not meet them. This is just a run-of-the-mill, kind of like cutting room floor stock, if I dare to use that word in reference to Metallica, stock sounding song with a similar message lyrically to Motor Breath and so many other metal songs about getting older and being loud and fast and aggressive no matter what, full speed or nothing. And it's just going to end up being another one of those songs that gets people going in the crowd. And James is probably going to stop in the middle of it and say, Metallica family, rise up. You know, it's going to, because that's basically what the song talks about, is being a live band in front of a crowd. And, you know, kind of like, what's the other one? Whiplash. Yeah, they've done this before several times, and it just doesn't work for me anymore. By the way, did I say that I couldn't hear any fucking bass? Did I say that already? Huh. Well, if I did, I can't say it enough times because I'm getting tired of this shit. Tired of this shit. I'm tired of the excuse people give that, well, you know, it's the same excuse Lars gives, or that I've heard anyway, secondhand, is it's drums and guitar first. Drums and guitar, and that's metal, I guess, right? Drums and guitar first. But how many metal bands can you think of where you can still discern the bass player and what the bass player is doing in their runs, and even the stuff that they're doing just with the body of the music? You can still hear that low end, and you can still hear their tone. And Justice, Death Magnetic, a lot of parts of Hardwired, and this song, all of Saint Anger, but, you know, that's because I had Bob Rock playing bass. The bass is just gone. Load and Reload and the stuff that they did in the 90s, there's a lot of bass. In the Black Album, there's a lot of bass to be heard. They gave Jason his chance to be heard, you know? And live, too, of course. But, again, I know Metallica is a heavy metal band. They're a thrash metal band still trying to stay true to their roots, but it it's find a way to get the fucking bass into the mix. Would you please find a way? Find a way. It's not so hard that, I mean, some of the lamest modern rock bands of the here and now, for fuck's sakes, can find ways to get their mixes better than Metallica. And I don't blame the producer. I don't even blame the mixers, because it's Lars strong-arming them all the time. You've heard the stories about Injustice. Oh, here you go, Lars. Here's the drums exactly as you said they should go. No, turn the bass down more and more and more. So, musically, lyrically, skill, all of it, it's just run-of-the-mill. It's run-of-the-mill. It's not bad. It's not good. It's just... It's a promotional song. And that's what it's supposed to be doing, is promoting the album. And that's, yeah, okay. And the song's going to sound good in some commercials, I'm sure, and it's gonna be in a bunch of movie trailers and but I have another type of song that I refer to quite a bit, at least in my own head, and that is an arena song. And that's a song that sounds like it was deliberately made to play at big sports events and sporting venues and soccer stadiums and shit. Like, maybe not soccer stadiums, but like American sports venues. And a really good example of that is The Offspring's Coming For You, I think is the name of the song. And it's a song that has really no substance whatsoever other than to try to get you hyped at a sporting event. It's a song that only serves one purpose. And this song here, in my opinion, only serves one purpose, and that is it's promotional material. That's it. There is, I mean, we could talk about Kirk's solo a little bit, which sounded a bit derivative of his solo from Whiplash. It sounded a bit derivative of quite a few solos he's done. I think Judas Kiss was another solo that I heard in there. I don't know. I'm of this opinion that if you are a band, if you're a musician, with time you should be improving. Rush proved that conclusively. Chevelle is another band that proves that with time and with age you can improve and you can adapt and change. And people saw Load and Reload, or the Black Album, or all three of those albums, and said, oh, look at this. Hey, a band musically exploring. But they weren't getting any better from a technical standpoint. They weren't challenging themselves. Lars made fun of Dave Mustaine. Yes, Lars Ulrich, of all people, once made fun of Dave Mustaine, saying that, I wish Megadeth would take more risks, and hence we got the abortion that was Megadeth's Risk. What risks have Metallica really taken? I mean, you can't call Saint Anger a risk. Saint Anger was a mistake. Okay, that wasn't a risk that a band was deliberately making, as I would defend them for so many times over the years. Saint Anger was just fucking unfinished garbage from a band whose future was in doubt and in flux until they realized, whoever it was in the band, probably Lars, realized that Metallica is just as strong and just as big of a marketing corporate force than ever before. And it's the only reason I could fathom such a horrible album starting out at number 1 on the Billboard charts. Because they bragged about that for a long time. Saint Anger was the 5th straight album that was fourth or 5th that was number 1 on the Billboard charts, or debuted. And how? Other than the fact that this is an already well-established band who has pushed a lot of revenue, pushed a lot of music, but unfortunately a lot of that music is not very quality music. It's music that ends up in TV shows and television commercials and movies. It's music that is low effort because the bulk of their money is made through touring, as we know. They don't need to take many risks or do, but the album isn't out yet. I know that if you are still with me these 14 minutes and 36 seconds later, you're probably saying, well, the album's not out. Yeah. That's why I'm reserving judgment for the album as a whole. But to prognosticate a little bit, I don't think it's going to be anything awe-inspiring. It's not going to blow anybody. Maybe some, people who really, really love Metallica. But based on this song, which, again, it's promotional, so you can't really ascertain much about what's to come from a promotional song that was just kind of farted out and given not a whole lot of thought. Yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But this song doesn't get me very excited for what's to come on 72 Seasons. This song is very mediocre. They could do a hell of a lot better. Even with a promotional song, they could do a hell of a lot better. And this is just another sign of a band that used to care about improving and showing their improvement, just kind of sitting back and going, yeah, I don't need any of this bullshit anymore. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Whatever, we're going to make money anyway. That's not music. And that's not the kind of music I want to listen to. And those aren't the kind of bands I want to listen to. And that's just it. That's just like my opinion, man. Have a good day, folks.